I think I know the answer to this question, but can different chemicals be mixed together for convenience, or is that very dangerous?
Please don't do that.
Yes.
Do not mix chemicals.
Cleaners.
Do not consolidate cleaners or chemicals in general. Don't pour them both down the drain at the same time. Don't pour them down the drain at all.
What's up, College Station? I'm Grace Hallwell, and today I'm joined by our Solid Waste Division Manager, Caroline Osk. Welcome back, Caroline.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We are going to talk some trash today and recycling, of course. But for our viewers that may not be familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I'm the Solid Waste Division Manager, and in my group we have all of the solid waste collections. We manage the recycling contract with BVR, we have environmental compliance, and then we have some of the safety aspects particularly assigned to the Public Works Department. But me in general, I have a degree from A&M, a bioenvironmental sciences degree, which is just really long and fancy for take a whole bunch of microbiology classes and hope you graduate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally? Are you from Texas, or did you move here for school and then kind of stick around afterwards?
Yeah, I'm actually from right outside of Houston, the Missouri City Sugar Land area.
Okay.
And then, I moved here in 2008 for school, and then I never left, and that kind of gives you an idea of my age, but that's okay. Yes.
Yes, and I ask our residents who came here for school and decided to stay, what made you stay?
I really like the small town feel. So being from Missouri City Sugar Land, you're just a number. There's so many people everywhere. And I know we always talk about internally about traffic and everything that's going on in the city. Well, being stuck on 610 or 290 for hours at a time, I would rather live here.
Yes.
And you get all the cool sports, so you're not competing with millions of people to get to go to the rodeo, to get to go to an Astros game, things like that. When you come up here, you get to go to track and field, which I'm super excited about. So USA Track and Field's coming in June. I'm hoping to get tickets. So excited. But all these cool things that you can do in town that's basically like a big city feel and has all these events, but I can drive home in 15 minutes. So it's nice.
Yes, the convenience.
Yes.
And we were talking a little before we started. We are both cat parents.
Yes.
What made you decide a cat versus a dog? Have you always been a cat person?
I've always loved animals in general, but no, we actually got her just because I had seen a friend of mine had posted on Facebook that they had found all these kittens behind their house and they couldn't foster all of them. So was anyone interested? And so I texted my husband and said, hey, I'm going to pick up this cat. And I didn't wait for him to say yes or no. And we came home with this very fluffy, whitish gray cat. And her name's Lena Marie. It's actually kind of funny because my best friend's name is Lisa Marie. So every time I scream at my cat or say something because she's doing something naughty, I say it in the exact same way that her mom yells at my best friend. So I'm like, yes, I try to use that. It's so funny.
Yes, we love our animals here. We love our cats. I know my two are like my own children, and they each have their own individual personality, which a lot of people, I feel like, they think cats, they're independent, they, keep to themselves. Not my two. They have to be on, my husband is their favorite human. I'm the backup one. But they are very unique creatures.
Yes. They're more like where you can pet them occasionally when they're okay with it type animals, but they're very funny.
Yes, very funny. So what is one thing that you wish more people knew about the world of solid waste and recycling? I know it's a service that we all have had our entire lives, so we don't really think about it unless there's a problem. So what is something you wish people knew?
It's not as easy as it looks.
Yes.
Because usually, you roll your bin down and then we come through at some point during the day while you guys are at work or at school. and then magically it's serviced, and then you just roll an empty cart back up. So it's not as easy as it looks. And there's a lot of technology that goes into it, whether it's from the mechanical side or a software side. We actually have some AI things that are going on in our trucks now too. So we have a lot going on all the time. And I feel like one of our, this is one utility that we physically, a city employee physically has to touch your location, your home, your apartment complex, your place of business, however many days per week to get it done. So the actual logistical aspect of it, people may not realize the amount of work that's there and how many times we have to go, and just the work ethic in general that our team has to make sure it all gets done. That's something that we kind of take for granted, or at least I did, because I'm not from the solid waste realm. Right. So I think I told you this last time I was on here, is when I moved into solid waste, of being humbled by the amount of work that our team is doing on a daily basis is really eye-opening.
Yeah, because when you think about it, you drive by all of our neighborhoods in College Station, and we have grown over the years, and every single one of those houses or housing complex produces waste or recycling that needs picked up. And sometimes it's more than one can per house, depending. So when you think of it in terms of how many people there are here or how many households there are, that kind of gives you a better picture of how much your team does day to day. And with that, you mentioned a city employee being involved in all of the aspects of the collection, but our trucks are a little different than what you might think. There isn't a physical person picking up your trash bin and throwing it into the truck. It's all automated, right?
Right. So there's two collections that we call automated. So the first one is a front-end load collection vehicle, which is where they have the forks on the front, where they are physically in the vehicle. They're driving the vehicle. They're just not getting out. So the forks on the front pick up the dumpsters, or these compacting dumpsters called mini Macs, and then it dumps it into the back of the truck, and they keep going about their day. So if there's anything wrong with the dumpster, if there's anything in front of the dumpster that blocks their approach, the ingress egress to the can, anything like that, they're not going to get out and move things around.
Right.
We purposely don't do that because we don't want our operators manually or physically touching any waste to get punctures in their hands, them being exposed to different pathogens, things like that. It's a huge safety issue for us to be able to get out and move things around. We don't want to do that. The second, which is more common that people see, because FELs are mainly for apartment complexes and commercial businesses, is your residential automated vehicles, which it has the gripper arm, yellow gripper arm on the right-hand side. It uses that big hydraulic arm to pick up the can to dump in the right-hand side of the vehicle. And then it keeps going down each house, however many cans there are on that street. But yes, same thing. So if there are bags of waste, extra bags of waste outside of the can, if they're overflowing the can or placed on top of the lid at your house, they're not moving them. They're not moving your cans apart. They're not taking the extra bags. It's the same concept for safety. We don't want them touching anything.
Yes, and that is something that I did not know until I moved here, because where I lived previously, there was still a person who tossed your trash in.
Where'd you live?
I lived up north in Erie, Pennsylvania. Okay. I think it might be different now, but before I moved here, there was still people that would pick up and throw your trash in.
That's kind of funny. When I still remember this as a child, is where we, when I still lived in Missouri City, my blabbering mouth, but when I still lived in Missouri City, we had our own trash cans that we would buy from Lowe's, and we would just drag them down to the curb, and it would be a rear load team, like a 2 to 3 man rear load team, where they would pick up your can, they would dump it in the back, and we had twice a week service, and that's just what it was. We didn't have automated containers, and we didn't have automated services at all when I was growing up. So it's nice to be able to use that now. And that innovation and kind of evolution in the waste industry, which has reduced injuries, it's reduced just so much, reduced safety issues, things like that, and really boosted efficiency. And so it's been fantastic. I think that's been pretty revolutionary for our industry.
Yes, and I know I have spent some time when we were working on our history book, getting pictures driving around behind your team, and they are very efficient. They are very quick at their job, and they do a great job. So what is your favorite thing about your job? I know you said you're a microbiome major. Solid waste wasn't your intro to the workforce.
Right.
So what is your favorite thing that you get to do every day?
My favorite thing I get to do every day is hang out with my team because I love them. They're so funny. I will say, like, even with the amount of workload, especially with move in, move out, when we have storms, things where, they know they're going to be working, 12, 14-hour days just because of the workload and everything that's out there. And sometimes we'll have, some rising in personalities and things like that. But overall, everyone is just, they really, really care about where they live, and they really care about work, and they really care about their teammates. And I really appreciate that. And so everyone that I work with is just absolutely fantastic. And just knowing that your team has your back in case something happens, if you need an extra hand, anything like that, that's what makes it a good place to work. And I'm happy to be able to go to work every day with them.
Yes, definitely living that one city, one team motto.
Yeah, and I will say it's not just solid waste. I will say that's Public Works, I feel like, in a nutshell, that department. Yeah. Our division managers, if we really needed something, that they're going to be there for you. A lot of things we don't talk about on, I guess, on the solid waste side is we also do some disaster management alongside streets and drainage. And if I really needed something from Ronnie's team and the Ryans from their supervisors, they will absolutely be there to help you. And I think that's what really keeps us together and in kind of those times of need.
Yes, absolutely. We had Director Emily Fisher on not that long ago, and she had a very similar answer that she loves her team, and it is definitely, y'all are a passionate group of folks that are ready to help our residents at any moment's notice.
Yes.
So what is your favorite spring memory from your time here in College Station? I know it's it's an interesting time. It's not like football season, so the vibes, so to speak, are a little different. But it's still an exciting time. I know it's my favorite time here, all the bluebonnets. So what is your favorite College Station spring memory?
I would say for work, my spring memory that I like the most, especially since being in solid waste, is this is the time where all the schools reach out for Community Helpers Day, and then we get to do Trek Show and Tells with all the little kids, and it's just so fun with their crazy questions they come up with and how excited they are to see everyone, not just us, but we did the big vehicles event at the library. We've got some Community Helpers Days coming up. And then we always host one of the days for Citizens University. So that is always fun because, I like to yap. And anyone that wants to listen to me related to solid waste, I'm like, yes, come hang out with me. So, yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure, too, those trucks are big. In my adult size, standing next to one, I'm always like, whoa, these are huge. But I can't even imagine the being a child and looking up at that. That's probably like the biggest thing they've ever seen. And what is something that most people don't know about solid waste and recycling?
Something people don't know about solid waste. That all waste can be disposed of in the exact same manner. That's not necessarily true, and we will probably talk about that a little bit later.
But that is interesting. Okay. So speaking of springtime, it is getting ready to be move-out season for our student population. I'm sure some of them are counting down the days. So what are the most common mistakes that people can make when moving out and disposing of items when they're moving?
Not putting it out on their collection day.
Yes.
Or too early, just being a good neighbor.
Yes.
Usually what we see is move out days or when leases end don't necessarily match up with their garbage days, whether it's their garbage cart or bulk and brush days, but just being mindful of the collection schedule. So finding the collection schedule is the easiest way to kind of mitigate that issue with your neighbors. So you can use the College Station Curbside app that's free. You just put in your address. You can call us. I mean, we have so many modes of communication for you guys to get a hold of us. If you can't find it, we're happy to walk you through different options. But besides collection schedules, one of the other things is making sure when you're putting out bulk or brush piles, anything like that, is it's away from stationary objects and out from underneath overhead obstructions. I think the overhead obstructions is usually the one that gets people, is because they place them underneath trees. And then especially with when it's a larger pile, our boom truck can't get to it because we can't just knock your entire tree down to get to it. So that's usually the two. And then of course, placing bag waste out for bulk and brush day. Again, even our rear load crew operators, they don't want to touch your bagged waste. We don't know what's in it. And again, we don't want them to get any type of punctures or have some sort of safety issue, be exposed to different pathogens. That's the thing that we're looking for. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And what are some items that should never go inside a regular trash bin or in the recycling carts?
Bulk items.
Yes.
Don't put bulk items in your garbage bin. We will usually tag you. There's neon orange tags. They're giant. We purposely made them giant so you can't say you didn't see them. But yeah, bulk items, please just place them somewhere else. And then, of course, the two other items that we see that you cannot place in both garbage or recycling carts are hazardous waste and no lithium-ion batteries. And we may talk about both types of batteries, but lithium-ion batteries, because they spontaneously combust, they cause us some issues and some truck fires and things like that.
Yes, which we never want.
No.
That is not something we would like to have to deal with for your team.
Yep.
So what should our residents do with bulky items such as furniture and mattresses that they are trying to get rid of?
First and foremost, donate if you can.
Yeah.
Donate if you are leaving and you're a senior or you're a super senior. No judgment. You do you. Pass it on to someone else that may need it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's still usable. Put it on Facebook Marketplace, free and for sale, whatever. If you just want to get rid of it, someone's going to come pick it up. But make sure you tell them don't knock on my door or whatever. Or you just take it if you want it. That is a big one. Is please, please, please donate. And of course, your second option for disposal is really put it out the night before or before 8 a.m. on your bulk day, and we'll come get it. So just a reminder for bulk, there are actually 3 different collection vehicles during your bulk day, and sometimes people get confused of we've passed you. It's not necessarily true. Usually what you'll see rear load crew come first, which is 2 to 3 guys. Again, they're the ones that are physically picking up anything that's less than 50 pounds or something that 2 guys can pick up and put into the back of a vehicle. If it's more than that, then you will see an additional truck come down, which is the boom truck that has the big claw that can pick up anything that's really heavy. They also have a shuttle, which is called an open top. It's basically a roll-off truck with an open 40-yard box on the back. It's really used to shuttle brush. And then we take all the brush to a separate part of the landfill so that it can be mulched. But just a reminder, there are 3 trucks during bulk and brush day, not just one. So wait a little bit if you have larger items.
Yes, absolutely. So are there any local organizations that people can donate before they either put it out for bulk or schedule to have it taken to the landfill?
So what I've seen is, of course, you can take things to Goodwill, and you've got some other local items. I think we did a blog post. I may ask you to repost that blog or some of those links just so I don't forget the names. But some of clothing items, because a lot of people will call us about disposing of and or recycling of textiles, and we can't recycle textiles here, at least not through our single stream program, is you'll see those little yellow boxes, and there's some kiosks outside of the mall as well. That's where I kind of push people of take your extra textiles, clothing that you may not use anymore, things like that aren't as trendy. But I may ask you to repost the blog that has the other options for donations.
Yes, always a good reminder to share that information.
Yes.
So what are your top 3 must-know move-out tips for students or residents?
Number 1 is know your collection schedule. Number 2, make sure where you're placing your bulk and brush piles and or carts, if you're in a single family home, away from stationary objects, which
Yes.
including the carts themselves if you have more than one. We have some homes in Southside, just because there's a lot of people that live in student housing and whatnot, where they have more than one container. Make sure those containers are placed at least 4 feet apart, because again, we talked about that gripper arm. That gripper arm's really wide, so it needs to be able to pick up each cart safely and not topple the other, because again, we're not getting out to be able to pick up any trash that's flipped over from that can flipping over. So 4 feet apart from any stationary objects, other cans, parked cars, mailboxes, yes, things like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. And how can improper disposal during move out impact our community or the environment?
That's a good one. I would say, especially for apartment complexes, we see a lot of bagged waste being placed in front of dumpsters. And then when we can't pass it, and maybe there's a week or two that passes in time because it hasn't been picked up by management or anything like that of that apartment complex, you'll see animals get into it, and it causes vector issues. And I purposely pulled this up before this video, is looking at the historics of waste management in general, where waste disposal actually started back in like 650 BCE in Syria, and then in ancient Rome. And then, of course, we kind of saw dust yards and whatnot in London. And then, of course, the first public sector garbage collection systems happened in New York City, I believe, in the early 1900s. So it's really, really important to not cause public health and vector issues.
Yes.
That is the one we see a lot.
Yes.
It's bagged waste outside of cans. That's the whole reason you have a poly container and lids, is to avoid public health issues.
Yes, and you mentioned your streets and drainage team.
Yay! Yes.
Things like that. If there is extra bags with, I mean, anything in it that pollutes our storm drains.
Oh, yeah.
That is also a big issue.
And it just rained a lot.
It did.
Last week. And it's supposed to rain again this week into next week. Seems like it's going to rain for 3 weeks straight. But yes, that's a big problem, because again, that storm water is not going to a wastewater treatment plant.
No.
Nobody is fishing out any type of litter or whatever organics you have in those cans. It's going straight to your nearest creek, lake, river, all the things. So yes, please be mindful of that, and making sure that you're disposing and bagging things, tying your bags, and it goes directly into your can and dumpster.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, pool chemicals.
Yes.
It is getting warmer. People are going to start balancing their pools and using them more frequently. With pool chemicals, why are they considered a hazardous material that you shouldn't just throw away with your normal garbage?
Because they're reactive, and it is a hazardous waste. So basically, just the definition of a hazardous waste is a chemical or something that has some sort of environmental issue, create some sort of environmental issue, but it's no longer used for its intended use, so therefore it's waste, right? So for pool chemicals, they're reactive. So there are certain salts, it's your chlorine salts basically, that are in the tablet form that everybody uses, or it's either a powder, and it reacts with water. That's the whole point, is because it's an antibacterial for the pool. Don't go to the bathroom in the pool, please. Use an actual restroom. But that's part of it, right? It being antibacterial. However, when it's, not used for its intended use, and you leave tablets or those salts in containers, poly containers is usually what we see, and we crush them in the back of a garbage truck, but there are liquid organics also in the back of the garbage truck, they will start to react. Then we can see fires. We'll usually see gas emission. So you'll see things start to bubble. And those gases are noxious gases, which means do not inhale them, please. Not a good idea. You're going to damage your respiratory system. So that's why it's reactive.
Yes, and that goes for our crews too, that are having to be in the truck when that reaction is happening.
Right.
very dangerous for them. So with the types of pool chemicals that people use, what are the most common ones that you see people trying to dispose of?
We see the sodium hypochlorite tablets is what we see the most of. And of course, the containers that they're in, usually there's a residue inside. And so any residue and those tablets in general, whether you're putting them in the pool or not, that is what's causing those reactions in the back of our garbage trucks.
So what is the safest way for people to dispose of these chemicals?
I would say call your pool company. There's a ton of pool companies around here.
Yeah.
They have an easy and safe way to get rid of any excess materials or chemicals that you're not using. Contact them first.
And how should people be storing these chemicals? For those who may have just gotten a pool recently or may not know, what is the best way to store these chemicals safely?
I would say in their leak-proof containers, and make sure that you are paying attention to the instructions and labels. Labels are really important, especially in our world, in the environmental world. So there are usually SDSs, which are safety data sheets that are related to storage, related to first aid. If you have some sort of chemical reaction, it may tell you how to respond to that chemical reaction. So paying attention to those labels is huge. There's also GHS placards on them, which is where they have different pictograms. It may have an reactive oxidizer ring, whatever. There's so many things that you can pay attention to, is just making sure that you're reading the directions and labels first and foremost.
Yes, and like you mentioned, if you have questions or you're not sure, contact your pool people.
Yes.
They will be able to help you. And I think I know the answer to this question, but can different chemicals be mixed together for convenience, or is that very dangerous?
Please don't do that.
Yes.
Do not mix chemicals. Do not mix
Cleaners.
Do not consolidate cleaners or chemicals in general. Don't pour them both down the drain at the same time. Don't pour them down the drain at all is really our rule of thumb.
Yes.
So first and foremost, a chemical is a chemical. It's going to cause problems. It may cause reactions. It may create some sort of gas that causes you respiratory issues. You want to keep them in leak-proof containers. We don't even care if they don't have a label on it. Just keep them in the leak-proof container, and then we have other options to be able to get rid of them. But do not pour them down storm drains. Do not pour them down your sink, anything like that. You'll cause corrosion in your pipes. You'll cause issues with our wastewater treatment plant operators and our colleagues over at Water Services. So please, please, please just keep them in the leak-proof containers, and then we have some other ways to get rid of them.
Yes, and keep them out of the reach of children and pets, for pet parents too.
Yep.
I know one of my kittens, Carmi, he is a very curious little guy, and anytime I open a cabinet, he tries to get in there. So when we have our cleaning days, he is banished to our guest room because locked in there, not taking any chances that he's tipping over bottles or getting into something he shouldn't. So with talking about disposal of these types of items, can you explain what the Bavizma Household Hazardous Waste Collection event is and why it's important?
Sure. So the HHW event is hosted by Bavizma, which is the Brazos Valley Solid Waste Management Agency. They also run Twin Oaks Landfill.
Yes.
And it's important because of all the things we just talked about. It's important for our own health. It's important for not damaging our pipe infrastructure for wastewater systems. It's important for our water services folks, and it's important for all of our operators, whether they're operators at the treatment plant or they're operators that work on my team, so that we don't cause safety issues. And overall, this is the whole point, is to safely dispose of things in a manner that we couldn't normally in our garbage carts or through single stream recycling. And that's what this opportunity is, so that we don't cause any public health issues, we don't have some sort of environmental issue, and this is the easiest way to do it, and it's free.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when is the event, for those who might not know?
It is April 18th from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Gotcha. And it's at the Texas A&M
University Services Building. Yes. So you'll go past Veterans Park on Harvey Road. You'll take a left into the entrance, and then you'll exit off of University Drive.
Yes, and more information can be found at the Twin Oaks Landfill website.
Yeah.
It's all right there on their homepage. They tell you what you can bring and what you shouldn't bring. They make it very easy.
Yes, they have a fantastic list of literally anything that you can imagine at this point that I can't even list off because there's just so much. So definitely take a look at that, and they'll tell you both things that are approved that you can bring and prohibited items as well.
So are there any trends that you have seen in College Station in regards to solid waste and recycling or hazardous waste disposal in the last 6 months or so?
Trends. I would say sometimes we get a kind of a roller coaster ride of lithium-ion battery disposals.
Yes.
That we are just usually surprised by. So let's talk about lithium-ion batteries real quick. They are not the same as alkaline batteries. So alkaline batteries are like what you put in a flashlight, things like that. But lithium-ion batteries are different. It could be battery charging, your little cordless battery chargers for your phone, laptop, things like that. For hoverboards, my kid has a hoverboard, and I always think about it being in the garage. And if you use any electric, like leaf blowers, things in those big battery packs that are rechargeable. So the big thing for lithium-ion batteries is they're very difficult to put out. And once they start burning and spontaneously combust, there's not a lot you can do for them. I think this would be a really good topic for Stu over in Fire.
Yes.
If he hasn't talked about it yet, and have them talk about their different training and blankets that they have and things like that. But for
Stu,
us,
if you're watching, take notes.
we're coming for you. Okay, so for lithium-ion batteries, basically what we've seen people actually take them out of their, and almost like it is a encapsulation or case, and they spontaneously combusted in the back of our garbage truck. And they were actually from, I believe, like a weed eater or whatever. But anyways, it lit everything on fire, basically. And so what happens then is we have to eject the load in a safe location. Then, of course, the fire department has to come out and help us out there. And then we take the hot load. It's called hot load at that point. We take the hot load, notify the landfill, and then we dump it at a safer place at the open cell. But yeah, lithium-ion batteries are usually the big trend. It just depends on whether or not it's lawn equipment, hoverboards, things like that, because we didn't have them when we were kids. So this is kind of the new trend.
So how would somebody dispose of a lithium-ion battery safely?
Yes, I would look at kiosks around Best Buy, Walmart. You'll see them at the front, especially for cell phones, those that are smaller. Contact your Home Depot and Lowe's, any home improvement store there. And then batteries plus bulbs is what we usually see. There are fees usually associated with batteries plus bulbs, but it's really important that you get rid of them safely and not put them in the waste stream. It doesn't matter if it's with us or with recycling, just don't do it at all. It causes us a lot of problems. We've even seen fires at the MRF. We don't own or operate a MRF, but our vendors do, and so we hear about it quite often.
Yes, and it's kind of the same reason why when you're flying, they say no lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
They are just a very dangerous material that, like you said, they didn't have to worry about 20 years ago, but now they are in a lot more things.
Yes.
So before we go, where can people find out more information about the things that we've talked about today?
Go to our webpage. Our webpage is really, I hope it's really helpful. We've tried, you and I.
Yes.
We work hand in hand on education and different outreach items and, all the cool things. So go to our webpage, so cstx.gov/recycle. Recycle actually pulls up not only recycling, but solid waste for residential, commercial, apartment complexes, everything. So anything that we've created with you guys, it's there for you. Just scroll through. There's a carousel at the top. You can click through the pictures, and it's got some good information up there. If you're needing something immediately, you're more than welcome to call us. Our phone number is 979-764-3690. And then we have our administrative staff. They all have access to our bucket, which is pubworks at cstx.gov. And then they forward them out to each division based on whatever the request is. So we are constantly in communication with everyone. We're happy to help as much as we can.
Yes, absolutely. Before we go, we have a quick little lightning round of solid waste and recycling questions. Are you ready?
Let's see if I can do it.
Okay. Biggest move out oops you've seen every year?
Oh, biggest move out. Oops. Putting your stuff out 6 days before. Don't do that. You'll make the neighbors very angry.
Yes.
And then us in code enforcement, I think you've had Tommy on
Yes.
too. Ooh, yeah. Then we have to talk all the time. Yep.
Yes.
So,
Know your collection
know
schedule.
your collection day.
Most commonly recycled item that people get wrong.
Plastics, you will not believe.
Yes.
Okay, so plastics, not one size fits all. Turn the commodity over, has the recycling symbol, has a number in between. For our area, we only accept 1s and 2s. There are other areas that may have geographical locations that are closer to different markets. Solely for us is 1s and 2s.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's plastics.
Gotcha. One item people forget that is hazardous.
Paint.
Paint.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Paint in its liquid form is hazardous waste. But if it's completely dry, you can dispose of it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So air it out. Don't keep it enclosed, but air it out in your garage. Let it sit till it's hard and throw it in the trash can. But if it's liquid, then yeah, we have some problems.
Yes. Liquid, take it to the HHW event.
Yes. Perfect.
Most underrated item people should recycle or dispose of properly.
Washing out your cans. Wash out your aluminum, like your
Yes.
vegetable cans and things like that, in jars and things like that. Make sure they're actually washed out so you don't have any food residue on them.
Yes.
I see
Washed,
that a
not
lot.
rinsed.
Yes. Wash them out.
And finally, your go-to move-out advice in 3 words or less.
Plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
I know
Very
that makes it
good.
hard with college kids, but I put 2 on there. I was like, plan ahead and know your collection schedule. And yeah, I know that's 4, but close enough.
Yes, plan
Yes.
ahead. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Caroline. It was a great episode, talking trash.
Yeah.
One more time, where can people find out more?
Go to cstx.gov/recycle.
And that's what's up.